Oh, let's try something new. The way this thing prints out a transcript, it might as well be.
Okay, so just remind everybody we're being recorded.
Okay. It's noon. We'll open the board commission meeting for Wednesday, April 9th. And I'd like to remind everyone that the meeting is being recorded, so when you speak, identify yourself if you're not the chair. We have a quorum. Commissioner Olszewski is not going to be here. Maybe Stephanie's going to show up. Chris will show up soon, perhaps. So we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dan is going to explain to us why winter came back.
I'm actually going to talk about the volcano. So I just want to share with you all what we're going to be doing. We have these little kits that I put together. So with the volcano recently, Ruth Anna Port Safety, Port Alaska Safety. So with the recent volcano activities and excitement that's been all over the news, we are planning ahead here at the port for our maintenance crew and our admin. And what we have is these Ziploc bags. Inside, we have the goggles that we're going to be using to prevent the ash from getting into our eyes. There are some wipes also if, you get ash on the goggles. And then we have these nitrile gloves, 2 pairs that are going to be included in here. That way the ash can irritate the sensitive skin. And then we have 2 N95s that will be in our kits. And then, of course, if someone needs over the glasses, goggles. And the instructions on how to use the N95, I know a lot of us have experience from COVID times, but we're including the instructions in our kits. And then the Appendix D for our employees, which is a voluntary use. OSHA requires us to do this for any voluntary use respirators or dust masks that we're using. And I also wanted to mention that if you go to the AVO website, they have which is the Alaska Volcano Observatory. They have a new activity on there where you could see the ash cloud and which direction it would go for the day. So if it does erupt, it'll show you, it'll go to Talkeetna, it'll go to Anchorage or wherever it's going to head. I can leave this here. You can scan that barcode and it'll take you to their website if you all want to see that. And that's all I've got for today's safety topic.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Ruth Ann?
No volcano today. Oh, which way is it going?
Which way would the ash cloud go?
I didn't look at it just yet.
Just to Port McKenzie. Just there.
It's been a bad week in finding anomalies so far.
Mhm.
Precision eruptions.
So I'll leave this here and I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Anybody have any issues with the agenda?
Oh, Mr. Chair. Okay, yeah, Stephanie was having trouble getting on with Teams, but I believe she's online now.
Oh, good.
So we'll make a note for the record that Commissioner Kessler is on.
You there, Stephanie?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't get, I'm having issues with Teams working, so I just gave up and dialed in.
It's probably a GCI thing. Don't worry.
Well, no, actually, it's a Stephanie thing who foolishly deleted Teams about 7 months ago off of her phone and now is in Hawaii, and the Teams app would take a half an hour to download. So I thought, I'll just call in.
Well, I can't really muster any sympathy for you if you're in Hawaii, Stephanie.
I know it. Although I might get a little sympathy. I'm sitting at the Kona airport on my luggage. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Some sympathy for that.
None.
None. Okay. Now you could be an ADAC sitting on your luggage.
Exactly.
That's, yeah. Aleutian Air has been down for 3 days because they're.
By the way, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
Okay, any issues with the current agenda? Jim, I know you want, I'm definitely okay. We're gonna move Carol to the forefront where she should normally be anyway, as far as I'm concerned. The money is the most important thing, right, Cheryl?
Yep.
Okay, Cheryl is now an A, and we'll move everybody else down one. Anything else, Jim? That was the only
Just the
thing.
minutes you were gonna.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that as we get to the next item, but right now we're on approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve? So move. Saves.
I second. Peggy.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. And then we have a submittal that came out last night with the draft meeting minutes for December 11th. And then today we were presented with meeting minutes from our last meeting on February 19th in hard copy. I've reviewed those. I see no issues. There was a couple of typos with the meeting minutes from December 11th, which I submitted and Jim is taking care of. Does anybody have any issues with, let's take them one at a time, December 11th meeting minutes? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to approve. Thank you. So moved by Mike Robbins,
I know that seconded.
seconded by Nathaniel. Any opposed? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to read through the February 19th meeting minutes. I did scan them quickly while I was waiting to start the meeting, but I don't see anything glaring there. I would have also accepted a motion to approve those. We'd be caught up.
This is staff, so move.
I know seconded.
Stephanie's moved and Nathaniel seconded. Any opposed? Hearing none, those minutes are approved as well. Awesome. We can, Carol, do you want to go before Steve?
No, that's okay.
I mean, we could.
We can do whatever you want to do. I'm fine. My event is at 1, so
Oh, okay.
I should be all
I
right.
mean, we're all right.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know
unless-
where you have
yeah,
to drive.
Right.
Anybody else want to go before me?
It's already been approved. Mr. Board Director, would you please
Sure.
grace us with your comments?
And I will be brief, which I think will throw everybody to no end. And so if anyone is harboring any thoughts of taking these meetings back to the old conference room, forget it. Because it ain't there no more. Okay, if you look out the window over here, you see everything that was here the last time we had this meeting in this room has gone asunder. And, we've got nothing but a concrete pavement.
I've noticed your building's missing.
Yes, yeah, to my point is, this is all you got. So, going forward, so, we removed any thought of being able to go back to the way things were. Can't unring the bell. And, we have, made disappear that which was the original port when the ribbon was cut in September of 1961. Welcome to being a part of history down here at the Don Young Port of Alaska. Toward that end, next item on my list is that on April the 16th, unless the assembly changes the date. I didn't stay for the whole assembly meeting last night. You know, they're gonna hold a special meeting because everything that was on the agenda that had to do with the PAMP, two crane agreements, one for the delivery of the cranes, one for crane use, once they're installed and in place. The award of the contract to the successful proposer for T1 construction. And I'm forgetting what the fourth one was. The bonds. Yeah, the authority from the assembly to ratchet up the bond purchase level. In the event we would need to go greater than what it was set at as we step down on T2. It was all pulled from the agenda last night and is scheduled for a special meeting, which is currently now April the 16th, which I think is a Wednesday. April the 16th, in the middle of the business day. Yeah, and then the last word that was mentioned by the chair was that if they find themselves pulling other items off of the agenda last night, because it was a big one, that they were gonna need to move to a special meeting, then they may move the meeting from Wednesday to Friday and hold it at the LUSAC in the evening like a normal, like they would hold a normal assembly meeting, but only on an off day. So as far as I know now, and nobody said anything to the contrary, there's gonna be a special meeting and it's gonna be all about the port modernization program on Wednesday, April the 16th. Probably in the assembly chambers at City Hall. And if I find out more, anything more or different, I'll let you all know.
It's at 2 p.m.
I'm sorry?
That's at 2 p.m.
No, I don't know yet. Usually it's noonish,
Noonish.
11 or noon. But I will make sure everybody knows. The other item I wanted to mention was, the search goes on for our vacant port engineering technician position. It's, Bill's number 2. Now that we have an engineering department down here at the port, we've been having some challenges filling that position. It's been advertised since Pat Sinnott had to leave. And we've interviewed one person. Don't want to let desperation cause us to lower the bar. Not a bad person, but there's got to be more talent out there, more candidates out there. So we're working with our friends at HR to perhaps change the classification of that position away from engineering and more towards project management, which is really what the substance and the bulk of that job is going to be. The challenge now is as an engineer at the grade level that we would have to hire to fill that, it's not a very appealing job. It's a lot of work for not a lot of pay. But I think we can open up the opportunities and change the classification on the position. There's a recruiter now who works for HR. So we've been working with him to figure out the best way forward on this is because, as you all know, there's a ton of stuff that's going on down here. Put PAMP to the side. There's still a ton of stuff going on down here because it's an old port that we need to keep up until we start demolishing and replacing. And that takes a lot of work. And we've got a lot of federal grants for other than PAMP, which has opened up the opportunities to do a lot more construction down here. So we need the help. So we're gonna try some different angles. That's been
Mr. Chair, this is Steph. I'd like to ask Steve a question. If that's
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
You finish with your remarks, Steve, because.
only on that point. I have one.
Okay,
more after that.
we can entertain a question from Steph.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Stephanie, sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, that's okay. It's hard because I can't see. I don't want to be too pushy. Have you, Steve? So I happen to have a degree from UAA in engineering management, and so I'm wondering, since I'm not for me. I'm not saying I want this, but what I was wondering for recruiting purposes, if the recruiter has taken a look at the Project Society of Project Management, professionals in town, and also UAA may have some graduates who are engineers who have just gotten their engineering management degree. So that might be worth, just from a recruiting point of view, that might be an area where you guys could look. The low pay is a problem, but there are a couple of places now that you're sort of changing the focus that you might be able to go spelunking in.
No, and thanks for that, Steph, because I've reached out to the chair of the engineering department, Dr. Hamill, and haven't heard back yet. And same thing with the College of Business and Public Policy for some opportunities there. The challenge with UAA, and this has been my experience for probably the last 10 years, is it's hard to get them to answer you back when you send them an email. I don't know if faculty is really all that busy or what the story is, but I have waited months for answers to emails, and sometimes I have to run into them someplace to have a conversation because they're just not email responsive. But
Threatening to cut their funding, I bet they answered.
yeah, well, but we will, we will, I'll certainly keep trying to beat that push for sure, Steph.
Chairman,
Yes,
if I might add, there's also a project management group over there.
Yes,
right.
It might be
yeah,
fertile ground.
you would think that you could forward an advertisement for that, forward it to the base, for God's sake, and maybe get some more candidates. And we've done that. And now that I think now the municipality got this recruiter working in HR, some of that legwork would be on them instead of us. So more to come on that. And, well, this popped up. Did you find this? Lev found this. Okay, well, there you have it. So Lev will be there.
Mhm.
You guys can sleep easy.
Yes, good to know. Thanks, Lev.
Yeah, it is 1 PM to 4 PM on April the 16th. If you've never been to the Assembly Conference Room in City Hall, it's on the first floor, down the long skinny corridor, room 155 is where the meeting will be. So 3-hour special meeting. It's probably going to be all about us. And item last I wanted to bring up is, last time you had a meeting, no, I was in March, I got to go to DC.
Right.
And with the American Association of Port Authorities, they do their legislative summit in March every year. And since I'm on the board of directors now, the board of directors put a team together and we went to visit it was recess, so there were not a whole lot of legislators in town, but there were a few. Washington State had a few in town, and I always go with the Washington State guys because the other end of our supply chain is as important to me as this end is. So it's nice to rub elbows with the folks from Seattle, Tacoma, and go visit their legislators on their end. And that was the same week that Congressman Begich visited here, but I got to visit with his staff, Senator Murkowski's staff, and Senator Sullivan's staff in DC. The big trip that we made that I really wanted to talk about, though, was we went to the board of directors went to the office of the U.S. Trade Representative. Because, and I don't know how much press this has really gotten outside of the industry, but USTR is crafting language to put a tax on Chinese built or Chinese flagged vessels that call on US ports. And that tax will run anywhere from $1 million to $3.5 million per port call for calling at US ports. And you can imagine if that gets put in place in the current, as it's currently drafted, that's going to have a huge impact on most of the ports on the West Coast. And what the Chinese have already said, the Chinese owners of shipping lines have said is that we're just going to reduce the number of port calls we make. So when they send one of those big container ships to the East Coast or the West Coast, they usually make 5 or 6 stops. Now they'll make 2. And of course, you can understand what the consequences of that is going to be. It's the same number of containers. They're just going to drop them in fewer ports. So those big ports are going to have that congestion problem once again. And the little guys that were taking some of the pressure off the big ports are going to get nothing. And they're worried about their business just tanking and the inability to stay open. So we went there to tell the story. Our little piece of the world up here, not so bad by comparison. Both the container ships that come here every week are Jones Act carriers. So those have to be built and flagged in the US. So that's not a problem. I asked both A&P and Almar to take a look at the history of the other kinds of vessels that come here, particularly tankers, to see how many of them were Chinese built and Chinese flagged. And I think The answer which you can count them on one hand after
Very, very
cutting a couple of fingers off.
small amount.
Yeah, so it's not, it's not a huge thing here, but yeah, it's good to know. And now that the vessel agents have a heads up of what potentially could come, then they can be a little bit more selective about who we charter to to bring freight up here. So it's interesting times, even on the maritime front as well. And I will keep everybody posted. I have a direct line now to all things maritime back in DC. So I will keep everybody posted on how that goes.
Yes.
Ask Steve a question. What's the rationale for that?
It's
Additional charge.
it's to create a war chest, to create a fund to re-energize the shipbuilding industry in the United States.
Just China?
Yep,
Interesting.
so far. Yep. And of course, there's challenges with that too. They set themselves a timeline of 7 years to reinstitute a shipbuilding industry in the United States. And, that's a massive challenge. It took us 25 years to dismantle the damn thing. I can't imagine 7 years is all it's going to take to re-energize it.
Well, to educate new craftsmen, because the shipbuilding industry is basically only working on Navy ships right now.
That's right.
I mean, we do have a few commercial ships built for Jones Act, but very few. The tariff thing is interesting in that, if they do only hit 2 ports, that means they either got to get trucked, all those containers have to be trucked, or it has to be short sea shipping. Once the container hits the US, it can go on a US flag up the coast, so there's ways around it.
But all that congestion comes back now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It comes back now. There'll be containers that'll take months to get out of ports.
But it won't affect us much here.
No.
Sure.
We may see some residual cost impacts because Seattle, Tacoma will be on the receiving end of some of that.
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, but all of that is, as yet unknown. That's it for me.
Cheryl? I know you're getting tight on time.
Yep. So I don't know if everyone had a chance to review the report or not. It's March. Everything looks on track and pretty much how we've planned it out to be so far. The surcharge is always something interesting to take a look at and see where we're at. And then, matching that up against your debt service line item of 8.3 million on the bottom, right? So when you just look at it, if you only care about one thing, it's that, because we have to pay the banks or the bond payments. So that 8.3 million that's down under your operating expenses is the debt service payment on the bonds. And those will be not till the end of the year. So we'll have to just slog through 25. And, one of the things to always, look at against that is if you see the available cash flow, since depreciation is a non-cash item, you see that there's $4.5 million in the port fund so far from operations this year. And that will all go to pay the 8.3 million of debt service and the 2 million for the Visa dividend that will owe the general fund. Those are all actual cash dollars. So when you want to look cash for cash, that's kind of a nice way to see where we're at, see if the tariff surcharge is working the way we want it to work. And, and honestly, to just take a look every month to be sure that if there's any adjustments that need to be made till we get to the point in time to pay for that there's red flags that can go up for, Ross and his group that maintains the, the calculation of the debt surcharge. So that's, everything that you can see, and you can see at the bottom by the tonnage that it's a very, comparable year, slightly up. And so, the earnings will be just what we anticipated, flat with, potentially flat with a slight increase based on tonnage. So with that said, I can answer any questions that might have come up, but overall, things look pretty steady and good to go forward.
It looks good. We're just quickly under the surcharge for the general cargo, 8 million the actual is 1.4, which is only 18%. Well, this should be like 26% or 25 somewhere because it's a quarter of the year,
So
right?
some of that is timing, right? So you'll notice, right, like the actual surcharge for the cargos are based on what they actually did this month. So they'll have, the cargo that's in the first part of the year necessarily it's not flat throughout the 12 months.
So we'll
So-
have a surge in the summer.
That's what I'm thinking. So that's what we have to look for. That's what when we look at the numbers from previous years, that's what we expected to see. So, that's, and then, yeah. So like I said, I just wanted to give you some benchmarks to kind of look at, if you look at it quickly, to know where and how the tariff is performing.
What about the litigation?
So the litigation expense for that we pay in the operating budget is only the PIEP, and I anticipate that given the judgment that came in February, March, we'll get a Safeguard invoice for what the work they did. We just didn't get it yet.
Okay.
So, and I'm not sure of an update.
Yeah, no, there is no update.
Any other questions?
Cheryl,
Dave Thompson.
yes, Dave's, up here you talk about wharfage dry, bulk dry surcharge. And drop down a line or two and it says wharfage bulk liquid debt service. But
Oh, so that comes straight from the GL. So we used to have debt service when we had the account, the GL account was called debt service Aves. So it still is basically the surcharge. We just have to get that changed in the GL.
The
They are the same.
the three surcharges.
Yeah, I'll be sure to get that corrected. Thanks for that. Yep. I just ran it straight from the GL and didn't see.
It's confusing enough with
I know. I apologize. for that.
GL,
Well, they teach them that.
General ledger.
general ledger.
General
Yeah.
ledger.
Oh,
So, like,
yeah,
that's the-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And you can be confused all you want, but it's your money. So, I try to make it as easy to understand and give you the best information. So when it comes time to make the votes, right? So I appreciate that. I'll change it.
Yeah, this is Peggy. The POL valve yard fee, that seems quite high for first quarter.
So that's all based on usage. We see fluctuations in the year, like if they use it more in first quarter than they do in third quarter, you'll see things start to flatten out. And those are all basically the petroleum users, how they decide is the best way to bring the fuel in. So we do the best we can to budget it based on previous year's performance. But, when the petroleum folks use it a little bit more, that's just their fees that they pay. So we could be, when we do the budget, we take the last 5 years average. So that's basically how you will come up with the $375,000. But if they decide to use it more than over the dock, that number will change. And then it'll affect the 5-year average for next year's budget. So you'll see a change in the budget numbers.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Cheryl? All right, thanks, Cheryl.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
so you got plenty of time to make it now.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey, see you next time.
Yep.
Ronnie.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Ronnie Poole, Port Operations and Maintenance. Good news, we had 5 vessels on port yesterday, so that's letting you know things getting busy. More good news, port cleanup, and thanks for the collaboration with Matson and Tote. We've got the spring cleaning done, so hopefully all the dust will be died down, and hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate with us and stop the snow and ice from coming in. We're working diligently and got a contract to do the flooring at C-Star Building. So that will happen this month. We've been in contact and coordinations with the ship agents. We got 5, the first cruise ship, I should say, coming in on May the 8th, 2025, and we're scheduled to have 6 cruise ships this year. Manson Dredging and Manson Construction are already on port, and Manson Dredging started April 1st. And so we would like to also thank Cook Inlet Tug and Barge and our friends from North Star helping us with our winter operations to get us to the point where spring, we got the big contractors in now. So with that, the South Float is already posted. And then within the next 7 days, the north float is scheduled to go in. From there, the small boat launch, dredging will start April 26th for about 3 days. With that, around the 24th and 25th, we'll have the restroom scheduled to be open. Soon as dredging is complete, we'll have the floats going in right after dredging is complete. And that's pretty much all I have for port operations and maintenance. Any questions?
Yeah, how many cruise ships did you say? Six total visits or six different ships?
6 different ships.
And how many visits?
Actually, it's sorry to interrupt. It's 5. One of them is overnight. It shows us 2 days, but it's the Westerdam is overnight, I believe.
And how many total calls, Lou?
I'm showing 5.
Amanda
In
told me-
the port system, it probably shows 6 days, but one of them is the Westerdam that's staying overnight on at the dock.
Do you have a question? Mike?
You talked about rafters, are those at the small boat?
Small boat launch.
And so, did we take care of the restrooms last year too? Or have we been taking care of them for a while?
We handle janitorial, yes, for years. Janitorial, C's services will be doing the janitorial again this year.
You have a lot of trouble with those.
We have some trouble not that we can't handle. But the janitorial service is great. Yeah, due to people, 24 hours, or 18 hours that the bathroom is open, you get all types of strange situations down there. I know that firsthand from being able to monitor security cameras over the years.
What's the name of the janitorial service?
C's services.
C apostrophe
Yeah.
S.
Yes, sir.
Oh, like C's candies. Any other questions for Ronnie? We move on to Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill Carlson, Port Engineer. Have some good news from the PCT. We have 4 fully certified petroleum lines, 5 and 7, 8 and 10. 6 and 11 were sampled passing pre-soak. They were sampled post-soak yesterday, and we should have those answers on Friday. On another topic, the crane certification. The crane is rotating at 1 revolution per minute. That was too fast for the comfort of some operators. That's being worked on today, and that'll be down to 1 revolution every 2 minutes. So with any luck, we'll have it fully certified PCT in days, not weeks. Last steps are some hydros potentially, and removing some filters.
So, Mr. Chairman, quick question. So when you say he's fully certified, so it's able to receive product?
Correct.
And move personnel, because we're gonna have the crane certified and training is gonna occur.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman.
So open for business.
Open for business.
Okay.
For
petroleum.
petroleum.
For petroleum. Yes, I understand that.
This Ronnie Poole again. I'm sorry to step in, Bill. I forgot you, Chris Shipping, and it's gonna be 5 cement ships, dry bulk ships scheduled this year. I think the first one is in about another week or so.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Bill.
Oh, no problem. Captain Ward did ask about what does it take to certify the crane for the man basket. I've come up with a little summary of that to pass around.
Oh,
We
thank
can
you.
talk about it formally next meeting if you'd like, but that's the information we have.
Appreciate it.
On a different note, the sprung structure, that's a port maintenance complex, that's the building permit for that went in yesterday. Our goal is to move as quickly as we can to get operations, a place to store sand this winter. That's kind of a stretch, but we're working towards it and keep everybody in the loop. Storm drain plans, we have a not massive, but it's about a $15 million storm drain project. It's going to start in the tote yard, hopefully this August. It'll continue into next year. We have a meeting with the tote leadership team on the 30th to show how that will impact our operations. Control point 1 command structures, security structure. We're going to have that out of purchasing review here in days, not weeks. And we'll expect to have a new security structure being built in the spring of 2026. And working with Mr. Jagger, we're looking at the potential of a battery energy storage system. That's very complex. We're developing a new policy to have that safely operating here within the port and interconnecting with the Chugach system. So that's a heavy focus of mine here for the next 2 weeks is getting that policy finalized. We'll work closely with Chugash to make sure it's cohesive. And that's the goal, is to be building this battery here sooner than later. And that's what I have, Mr. Chairman, subject to your questions.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions for engineering report? Hearing none. We can skip over. No, we won't do that. PAMP, John. I was thinking it was Cheryl's term, but we still have PAMP, sorry.
John Daly, PAMP Engineering Manager. So there's lots going on with PAMP. On NES1, the Derek Clark Viking and Dredge Scout Northport arrived on Monday. They're now kind of in the unlashing and unpacking mode. They will start work either Saturday or more likely Sunday, doing actual dredging work. They're going to start with a single 12-hour day crew for 4 or 5 days. And once they get that done towards the end of next week, they'll ramp up to 24/7, which they're going to kind of keep going all year. They have completed their baseline hydrographic survey for this year. It looked pretty favorable. I haven't scrutinized it, but there wasn't a lot of siltation, removing that. What the work they did last year allows for a little more natural scour in there. So that's positive. And they're going to use that baseline survey as the pay line survey, if you will, for the dredging this year. So kind of recalibrated that and started off with that. So NES1's going along pretty good. Transit shed, Steve mentioned that. They're pretty well done over there. They're doing some cleanup. They'll be more or less done by the 24th. All they're really doing now is sweeping the site, demobilizing, putting some barriers around. So nobody will drive off one of the ledges or trip and fall over there. So that's pretty well done. T1, that's been the focus of my effort. Bids came in, they were pretty high. There's a joint venture, Manson Michaels, a very good group. Michaels is a large company out of the Midwest, Wisconsin area, I believe. 100-year-old company. They teamed up with Manson, who we all know. The bid's $807 million. Pretty high number. The sign of records estimate was 648. PAMP was 544. So the number came in pretty high. We spent a lot of time with them on the contract, trying to finalize the terms of the contract. And there was, engineers and lawyers spent 2 solid weeks in meetings. They were here for a whole week, going over in minutia all the terms of who's insured and for what period and how the change orders will be dealt with. I think we're more or less done with that. They haven't signed it yet, but we've agreed in principle to everything, right down to the final parts of that. The next part is really the internal municipal part, which Steve mentioned. We have to get the contract for the contractor in front of the assembly. The crane agreements have to go in front of the assembly, and the increase in bonding authority to pay for that has to go in front of the assembly. That all has to be approved. We have to have the money before we can sign the contract and all that. We're just finding out that that's going to happen a week from today, and there'll probably be another meeting or 2 past that to get it all done up. So it's been a lot of work on that. The other project we have is the substation that will power the new cranes. We pulled that out of the bid package and kind of handled most of it internally. We've got a lot of interest in that. You can imagine the contractors are having a hard time pricing things in this environment. Some of the long lead items won't be available for a couple of years. And we're getting a lot of comments like, how do we bid this? And I don't know what, nobody really has the answer to that. But right now, the bids are due next week on that. It's actually an RFP, so there'll be it's an RFP for a design build contract. So there'll be written narrative proposal that we'll review for quality, and then in a separate envelope, there'll be the price, and the combination of that will allow us to select somebody. And waiting to see how that turns out. There's a couple of meetings coming up. We're having a meeting tomorrow about the alternative POL system. Somewhere along the line, we're going to need to replace POL2, and we need to have an alternative POL system in place. So we're going to be discussing that. There's a lot of options on the table, some of which affect the T1.
Yeah.
Somebody speaking there. And then the other meeting that we're going to have is, there's a bit of a conflict. We had a week from now on the 16th at 2:00, we were going to have a meeting about the tsunami modeling that was done. And now that's in conflict with the assembly meeting that we just found out about. So we will probably reschedule that tsunami meeting. I think some of you may have been invited to that if you're interested. But because of all the goings on with the T1 contract, we'll probably have to bump that tsunami meeting down the road.
That'll be a hybrid meeting, right? So if anybody wants to teams their way in,
Yeah,
yeah, it's wide open for anybody who's interested.
but we'll probably have to rearrange that now because I'm sure most everybody will be more interested in second meeting. So that's about it for me.
Thanks. Any questions? No questions.
One, does the 800 million number?
Probably 8 million.
No, he said
800, it's 800 million.
Yeah.
versus the 544 that was.
Yeah, it's 807 million and some change versus there were several other estimates. The largest estimate previously was the designer of record, which was 648.
This is for T1.
This is for one dock for T1. And yeah, it's a troubling number. I mean, to me, it's troubling. It's an extremely, I don't know how to say troubling. It's extremely expensive and it's difficult to pull off financially. It will require more bonding authority, a large amount of revenue bonds. And it kind of sets the stage for T2 being large. That's just the base number. You know, historically, our projects have had 30% change order, which is large. But if you add some change order, reasonable change order contingency on there, the number goes up. They're certainly not going to do that work without change orders. So to me, it's, I just worry about the financial feasibility, but that's, in my world, that's outside of my pay grade. So there's nothing I can do about it other than observe it.
Good answer.
My personal comments about it and step back and let others deal with it.
Was that the only bid?
Yes.
Is there a limited number of companies that specialize in that?
There are, and mainly because when you get into the derrick barge world, there's only a handful of companies. There are more than one, but there's probably less than 20. So there was some other interest. Some of the limiting factors were the bonding ability to be that and the equipment. Interestingly, if you're following the full saga of the tariffs, we talked to the contractor and how did you deal with price uncertainty? They're very concerned about that. The main issue for them was the price of steel. And their strategy is to order it all as fast as possible. So as soon as the contract is signed, the next day they're going to order the steel and lock that price in, and that pretty much takes care of the risk from their point of view. But they have some contingency in their bid for the price fluctuation, which already has gone up since bid day. Their price in their proposal had like a 2-week window that they were fixed on the price of steel. So by the time we even got to the negotiating, nobody will hold their prices to steel. So, but that's.
There's no contingency to the contract to cover costs going up or down, right?
No, that number is their bid.
Yeah.
And those contingencies would be on our side of the ledger. Like I said, in the past, they've been 30%. Some people use 20%, some people use 10%, but you can count, we've already discussed internally a number of items that might be changes to the contract before we've even got it signed. So there will be change orders. It's just how many.
There always is.
Yeah.
Building anything. So what does that say about T2?
You tell me.
I mean, the highest number we ever heard was 1.4, right?
Yeah.
Now, if T2 takes the same amount, we're at 1.6 now. But it shouldn't be a huge surprise to us the way everything's gone in the since COVID, everything's inflated.
Yeah, what we do is, what I do and what the engineers do is they look at the square foot costs. And they look how much did this cost per square foot for this dock, and then apply that same number towards next dock, and then add some escalation for inflation in there. And so you can come up with the numbers that way, using that. That will show up in the plan of finance that the administration has done, which should be public at some point here.
Okay. Wow. Anything else, Abe?
No,
No.
thank you. Thank you, Bill. All right. John.
They're sitting next to
Look,
us.
yeah, you look a lot.
All those engineers look the same. If,
Same hairdo.
if,
That light in your eyes.
it certainly seems like it would behoove us if we're available on the 16th to go listen to this meeting with the assembly. Do you have any inkling of how it's gonna go, Steve?
Yeah, I don't
In the
think,
chair of the
I don't
enterprise
think they're
committee,
gonna say, screw this, we're stopping.
right?
Pretty confident we're not. It kind of is what it is, you know, and a lot of the why of it is outside of our control. And it's just this, the nature of the industry right now. And we're just at a point in time, it's probably the worst to have to do something like this. But it still beat the clock.
Mhm.
So you gotta kind of get it, grit your teeth and get it done.
Well, it's the same everywhere. We built a new boat in 19, and to build that boat today, we just were told it's basically double. And a little bit. And then they're saying the same thing, 30% contingencies, because we don't know what the tariffs are gonna do to the price of aluminum and all the other movers involved. So, yeah.
And the industry, the construction industry is risk averse.
Yes.
And, which means all that's on you as the buyer, whether you like it or not.
Well, let's go to Jim Jager and programs, policies, security, batteries, and all the other fun things that'll uplift the meeting.
Okay, so this is Jim Yeager with Programs, Policy and Security. In the grant world, PIDP and Protect grants are still on hold. We have not heard anything about the release of the Port Security Grant Program. We have not heard anything about the BCIP grant. We did not pursue a congressionally delegated spending with Murkowski. And as of last week, Representative Begich is now looking to put it in a CDS. So we're in the process of figuring out if either the port or the municipality have a CDS request for Begich. So more on that soon. That's where we are on the rest of it. Basically, we're not making any progress on anything. The one place we are making some progress is right now the EPA money that we were awarded last year appears to be good to go. So we're moving forward with that project. Cybersecurity compliance, we are just security compliance. Our FSP wasn't approved. So we now have a new facility security plan that the Coast Guard's approved and we're working on it. Biggest change you'll notice is a few signs change around. We are working with CISA still on some cybersecurity testing, although CISA right now is a bit of a high-centered position because they don't know who actually works there anymore. So we'll see how that goes. Access control system installation is ongoing. We're still in the process. We have some of the card readers in. We're getting more card readers and installing them as they're arriving. Probably by the next meeting, I would guess that most of the card readers would be up and functioning. And then along with that, some microwave communications improvements that we're in the process of doing as part of this project, and some camera control improvements. So that's all moving forward. Bill mentioned we're moving forward on the BESS installation. He's working to get the basically the request for proposals. We're hoping to have it out on the street in a couple of weeks so that we can turn that around. That will probably, what are we thinking, that's gonna soak for about 30 days.
I mentioned 30 days.
Yeah. And then
Bill Carlson.
hopefully we will be able to actually get the battery ordered quickly. And that's our biggest thing is that battery is a long lead item along with some electrical equipment and inverter and transformer that go with it because it's just a short supply right now. We're about to go on the street with our port power consultant, basically some sort of a firm, probably some variation of an engineering firm that was working on port power projects. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have going right now. I'm busy.
Yes. Readers, that's good. And you know, to just reiterate about card readers, if you don't have a TWIC card, you can get one from the port security office. They are a TWIC card facility and they can, you know, so you, instead of your Prox card, which will no longer really work, you can go down there with your Prox card and apply for a TWIC card.
Okay,
You want to talk about the 3 card readers?
The 3 card readers that will. We're actually about 2 weeks later than we thought. We are about to get our new readers that you'll be able to scan from your vehicle will be installed because of the nature of the way the TWIC system works now and the instant updates it's doing. We actually have to have physically a different card reader, even though they're the same technology for the TWIC system than for the port access card. So for the inbound vehicle scanner, we're assuming that all the truck drivers are going to have TWICs, but we're just going to have one high reader for TWIC cards. And then down at the driver level, we will have one reader that will be for TWICs and one reader that will be for port access cards. So depending on which card you have, you'll scan on one or the other.
So are you saying that a commissioner wouldn't have to, like in Abe's situation, he doesn't have to have a TWIC card? He can
That's right. You can use the port
He can
access.
still
card.
use the port access.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so then there you go.
but I need to get a new card.
You need a card that looks kind of like this as opposed to the old cards.
I've got
You've
this
the
one.
old card.
That's
That card is suitable for mounting on your bullet.
Yes, you will be shot on sight. Try to use that.
Well, I was asked today if I had a Muni card,
That card and
And I
$5 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
and I said no. The last time I came through, they asked if I had a TWIC card, and I said no. And they shook their head and said, you know, goddamn commissioners.
You're on that list. We'll get you off it.
Oh, thank you.
The bot, you can go in and we can get you one of the new port access cards and it'll take you 10 minutes.
Okay, great.
But if we have a TWIC card, there's no reason to have the.
That's right.
Well, no, actually, that's not true. You don't need the physical card, but you need the port access credential because your TWIC card has to basically, our system needs to say, who is this dude?
I already went down there and registered my TWIC card.
Okay, so if you've got your TWIC card registered in our credential system, then you're good. The trick is our credential system needs to recognize your TWIC number. Otherwise, we'll say, you have a TWIC number, it's a valid TWIC number, that's nice, go away.
Yeah, so I'll have to let the rest of the pilots know that one too.
But it's a fairly quick process.
Yeah, it took 5 minutes, Except you need to know your TWIC PIN And a lot of people don't know that.
Now that we're a trip dealer, we can actually,
Well, he changed my PIN for me
Yeah.
because I couldn't remember.
well,
it.
we
Yeah.
couldn't do that before, now we
Now
can.
we can.
And then we ran into a little technical issue where we had the whole system up and running, but then because of some security vagaries, we discovered that the Twix systems, security systems, and the port systems, security systems don't cooperate.
Won't speak to each other. Yeah.
So they were basically telling each other we wouldn't let you work. So we've now got completely separate systems.
Awesome.
If I might, one more question. Is the trucking industry aware of cards and the banks, and they just need the TWIC card,
They
right?
should just have to have their Twix.
Yes.
And
That's all they need.
they are aware of the new credentialing system.
Okay.
And they've registered their trick card,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So if they have a Twix, but they don't have a port access credential, they'll just have to go through the security center. And then at that point, they'll be told, this would be a lot easier if you got your port credential. And anybody who had the old system will take 5 minutes, get their card updated and get registered, and away we go. And it'll be back to normal.
Okay, well, I'm thinking the trucking association's having their annual meeting
Next week.
sometime in the next week.
Yeah.
And that would be good information to present to them at
Yeah.
that time.
I'm on the dance card, so
Good.
I will add it, to my,
Please do. Thank you.
list. That's a good point.
Thank you, Ace. Anything else for Jim before we move on from? Okay. Old business,
One more question, please.
yes.
Full of them today. I may have missed it, but we're working on replacing the check station there at the entrance,
Checkpoint one.
checkpoint one.
No,
Yes, Mr. Thompson, Bill Carlson, we are working on that. We've got funding, put together a package, which is final. I would anticipate seeing that being replaced, March, April of 2026.
They get to suffer through another winter.
Unfortunately, we want to make sure there's enough time, so we're not replacing it in the middle of the winter. And it takes some time to fabricate this, and procurement time is longer than we'd like.
I could agree with that. Yeah. All right, thank you.
This is Jim. The real problem is Bill has not figured out how to clone himself yet. The list of projects he has.
well, if you had a project manager, yeah.
Yeah, or if we had 4 of him, we might get back on step.
Okay, old business, it says that we have none. Any correspondence? It says none was received. Any new business? The commissioners or anyone else? No? We're moving right through it. Anybody sign up for public comment? Or does anybody in the audience have a public comment they would like to make? Hearing none. See anybody's hand up on the. Now it brings us back to the port director's closing comments.
More of a question than a comment. Bill's handout. Do you want to put that on old business or new business for the next meeting to talk about? We'll give it to you today. You can review it. And do you want to do anything official with respect to it that would make it a business item for the next meeting?
This was more an informational question. I just wanted to have something to pass on to the,
Which I think it answers the mail for that.
is there some way to put it on? Well, we could enter it into the minutes.
It'll be in the minutes and it will be an attachment to the minutes.
Okay,
When they get published online, just like we do the finance report and any other.
I'd like to send it to North Star and Chris, can you get it to the union? And then I'd like to see it go to Alomar and A&P. Anybody who's having the occasion to ride the man basket until we get a gangway, which wasn't mentioned today, the gangway.
Gangway, Captain, went out this We went through, got completed procurement this morning, and that's gonna be going out to bid in days, not weeks.
Okay, all right. So it's very good to hear that down here, gangway. So is that ETA about March of 26?
That's very achievable.
I would hope so.
It's not weather dependent. That's the good news.
It's out for bids, yeah. Hopefully somebody does bid.
It's not a long, laborious.
But that's really, it's just informational. I just wanted this to go out to anybody who is, who is wondering about the mechanism for certifying a crane, because there's a lot of people that have to ride that man basket, to and from the ship, so. Okay. That's it for your closing comments, Steve?
Yes.
All right, let's go around the horn with the commissioners. Mike, Commissioner Robbins, pardon me, any comments?
Nothing of note to add.
Thank you. Commissioner Mankulich? No problem. We didn't really talk about much before you got here.
Talk about him.
Well, yes.
You should have heard what he said. Jeez. I'm glad the mic was off.
Commissioner Botan.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, Commissioner Trainey's not here. Thank you, because I know Nathaniel's first name, but not I didn't remember. Commissioner Betts.
No comments.
Okay. Vice Chair Thompson.
I'll be traveling next week on the 16th, but I might be able to call in on a Teams meeting. So if when that link is available, if you could
Yeah.
let me know. Or
I have to find out how they do that because it's not the same as us and it really isn't Teams. There's a phone number you can call into and listen, but there's really no
Do you know my?
video.
No, I don't know how it's set
Let
up.
me find out for you, Abe. So
Okay, if you would, please, because I'd like to at least listen in on that meeting.
You should be able to Zoom in. You're gonna have Zoom.
Yeah. It's not Zoom, Steve?
No,
Okay.
not to my knowledge.
You're talking about the
The special meeting,
work session?
the assembly special meeting.
Yeah, it's live. It's still streaming on YouTube. You can just go to YouTube and stream there.
Oh.
So they stream all those things live.
do they?
Plus yeah, and you can go to the Assembly's page and they'll have a link. They have a calendar and it has the agenda items and it has a link to the stream. You can catch it that way too. So yeah, they're always on YouTube.
There's a little bit of a delay.
Not
Right.
much.
About,
10 seconds, 5
10,
seconds.
15
But
seconds.
you don't notice it
Yeah,
because they're talking and then if it allows you to go back, it's kind of cool actually because it's
Yeah.
not live. So you can go back and listen to what they said over again.
all right. I didn't realize the work sessions and all that, they do the same thing as the assembly meetings.
They do.
Okay, because I'm usually at the work sessions.
Exactly. And at assembly meetings. Yeah, I was gonna ask, I'm sorry, may I ask?
That's fine.
I meant to ask Steve earlier, do you want us to show up to the work session? Is that a help?
That's entirely up to you. I wanted to inform you in case you had the time and the interest in showing up. Yeah, you're more than welcome to. I hope I don't have a speaking part.
Well,
And,
you know you're gonna have a speaking part.
no, I don't, I'm not in charge of PAMP. Yeah,
Okay.
No,
Howard.
you're the chairman of the design committee.
no, not anymore. I'm
Not
not.
anymore.
I'm the recording secretary for the design committee.
Who's the chairman now?
Vic Angoko from.
Oh, okay,
Maxwell.
yeah, yeah. So that's a Wednesday,
1 to 4.
Waterman Potts meeting the same day. Anything else, Ace?
No, thank you.
So that would be my only closing comment is that I would encourage any commissioners who are available to listen in or maybe even attend. It looks like I might not be able to be there, but I think we're all interested in that, for sure. And then, inappropriate as it may be, Luke and Lev, I need a call from each of you when you get a chance. Something else.
Steph's online too, if you want to ask her.
Steph, yeah, I'm sorry, Steph. Did you have anything? How's your luggage?
Me and my luggage are still here parked in the shade. Thank you very much. It was a good meeting. And I think the cost of things are gonna go through the roof here shortly. So I feel the pain on the difficulty in getting a bid. So anyway, that's all I've got. Good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph. See you when you get back. Well, costs of things have been going crazy right along. This latest iteration doesn't make that much of a difference. I think if we could have got this bid originally, it would have been less, right? I mean, when we first went out to bid, if somebody would have bid.
A year ago.
Yeah, right, just, but that's the way things are. How about the next meeting date? Anybody, have issues with, let's see,
Calendar.
June-ish.
yeah, June-ish, which is always fun. Trying
I'll be gone the first 2 weeks of June, but back after that.
to, let me see what I got here. How about the 18th? It's the day before Juneteenth, one of those holidays. I have no idea what it is. Why it even shows up on my calendar.
We can certainly make the 18th work out.
I can do June 18th.
June 18th, fine.
Well, Simon's not here, Dick's not here, but you okay with that?
That works, yeah.
Okey doke. June 18th. Noon time. If there's anything else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Mocked by Commissioner Robbins.
Second, Commissioner Mayhew.
Thank you, gentlemen. We are adjourned.
Thank
And
you.
ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who did remind me stuff he was on? So, I'm vice chair.
Maybe it's called,